I'm Joe Perdue, and this is Ron Lanham. We're Wild and Weird, West Virginia.
We're field investigators and experiencers of various paranormal phenomena.
We're also the hosts of Wild and Weird Radio and other Wild and Weird productions. We've been documenting and recording data for years on all occurrences of high strangeness that have been reported to us through wildandweirdwv.com and Wild and Weird Radio, as well as information that's been given to us at tables at various festivals. Our research efforts have been recognized by our peers, and we were awarded the 2022 Bigfoot Researchers of the Year from the BigfootForums.com.
We're excited to share our work with a much larger audience.
This will be unfiltered, the actual experiences that you see us having in the field.
As we were walking out of the trail here, something vocalized, and we got a radiation spike up on the third.
This isn't a directional audio. It's coming from every direction. So, it's wedged between 6 trees. With the equipment we currently have.
Look at this. That's a signal, dude.
Yeah.
Are we dealing with some form of non-human intelligence?
So forget what you think you know.
And join us for a trip into high strangeness as we look for answers beyond the paranormal horizon. You never know where some of your best data may come from. It could come from total strangers. It could come from someone on the internet. It may even come from some of your friends, someone you've known for a very long time. Today, we're meeting with someone who has had some very interesting experiences in these woods.
How you doing?
Good to see you, brother.
I'm Ike Fauber. Grew up in Canal City, just about 8-9 miles from here. And I'm a registered respiratory therapist, perinatal pediatric specialist, and a sleep technologist.
So Ike, thanks for meeting us out here.
You're welcome.
And we're really excited about this because you've been working with us for a long time, but this is the first time we've been able to document your account that you had out here. And so if you can, just tell us whereabout you were, and we're going to go ahead and head out that way and then dig into it.
Okay. Well, when I came out here, there was snow. About 6 inches of snow everywhere, and no one, the gate was closed, nobody out here. I came up the road there, and instead of coming down through here, I went all the way up the top of the hill and around, and came through the campground.
Okay.
Into the field. Okay. And we can go up that way and I'll show you.
That's the old ball field, right?
That's the old ball field.
Okay.
And at the time, we called this 3 creeks because there's 3 creeks down there you got to cross to get up to the field.
Yeah.
So,
When was this, Ike?
this was 1969, 70, winter of 69, 70.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, let's get out there.
Head out there. From what we've heard, there are many such encounters. They simply go unreported.
All right, Ike, so this is where you had your encounter.
This is it.
Walk us through what happened that day.
Well, that day it was snowing.
Yeah.
It snowed. It's about 6 inches. I came in from the lower end of the park, and I came all the way up, and instead of coming across the creek this way, I came up the road and crossed around and came through the campground back here.
Okay.
I came through the campground just to see if anybody was there, and there was nobody in the park. came through the gate up here and got in the field here, and this is where I was having it. I was doing my donuts. I was just flipping around here, just having a blast all over in this area. And I came around to about right here, and my engine cut out. It stopped. Now, I never even given a second thought about how am I going to get out of here, or the walk home. I never even gave that a thought. My thought was, it was so quiet and nice, I wanted to enjoy the quiet. So I sat back and I just crossed my hands and leaned back a little bit, and it was so quiet, you couldn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, up this hollow, I heard that guttural chimp blast, and it scared the hell out of me. And I'm here, and I'm thinking, first thought, I'm going to leave this bike here and just run that way. And after a few seconds, I gained my composure. I reached down, grabbed the bike, and I shoved it out, got out to the main road, and I kicked the bike one time, it started right up. I sat here and kicked it maybe 15 times and it wouldn't start. Wow. I got to the main road, it kicked it one time, it started, and I left and never looked back. That was the direction it came from. And there's really not much back that way.
And historically, the campground closed after the last few days of hunting season. So if you were here post hunting season, there wouldn't have been anybody in the campground at all, because there's no reservations being made. Nobody would be coming into camp. And still to this day, there's no reservations in there during or after hunting season. So you were in here by yourself.
And there were no tracks on the road when I came in. So we had that snow that night, and I woke up that morning. For some reason, I had this strong desire to come right here. Okay. It was like I was drawn to this area. Never before have I had that happen, and I have not since ever wanted to come back over here and do it. But that morning, I got up and I thought, go over there and do donuts in that field.
Wow.
And that's what I was doing. Just like that. And like I say, it was just a strong desire I had to come over that day.
Wow.
Oh, that's impressive. That points toward subject B, in my opinion. And A. What are we going to do with that? You've got an actual, what I think is a physical thing here. You've got the growls, you got that, all that, right?
Right.
And then you've got this almost a consciousness going on where, well, I got to get up and go down here.
And the other thing is, I'd not heard that growl again until several years ago on TV.
Oh, wow.
When I'd never heard it.
Okay.
I'd never heard it before that, and I never heard it until I heard it on that Bigfoot show, and they had recorded it out west. So I thought that was kind of wild.
There's so much that has gone in with this little bowl that we're in. The collective has actually taken multiple Bigfoot reports from this area, just up that hollow and just across the road up on the side of this ridge. There have been multiple Bigfoot sightings. So there's a history of accounts from right here. I've even had strange encounters up here. One of my favorite places to go and just relax and hang out is up at the head of this hollow. And it's got a history of strange things, whether it be subject A or subject B. And there's also stories of the lady in white that have been in this area here. So I say it's pretty interesting, man.
It's very interesting. It's definitely a paranormal spot, let's put it that way.
Right.
Because there's a little bit of everything going on in this area.
My name is Theresa Racer, and I am a paranormal investigator and researcher. I've been investigating claims of ghosts and hauntings for over 20 years now, working for the past 4 years with spectral research and investigation. I'm also what I like to call a Fortean historian. I like to collect any reports of ghosts, hauntings, UFOs, monsters, anything strange and unusual from the Mountain State, which I write about on my blog, Theresa's Haunted History of the Tri-State. Probably about 15 years ago. I had just gotten out of class and had a couple of hours before I needed to be where I was supposed to be next. So I was really into the paranormal, the ghost stories of West Virginia. And I had heard about a ghost tale where, I guess at the turn of the last century, a woman of color was a teacher, and for whatever reason, the stories that are online aren't really clear about what happened, but that she was lynched at a big tree that was near a very big boulder. And just recently, before I had been down there, that was probably less than a year or so before I went to visit, there had been a group of people that were camping in the area who swore that they saw the apparition of this lady wearing a white dress standing near this boulder. So it wasn't, late at night or anything. It was like 5:30 in the afternoon, dead middle of summer, beautiful sunny day. So it wasn't a creepy experience until it was, because I pulled in and there was a car already parked in the little parking area that's down there, but nobody was in there. So I just assumed that it was somebody hiking, somebody enjoying the trails, and I pulled in beside of them and just kind of looked around a little bit. And at the time, there was a little footbridge over a creek, and right across the creek, there was a restroom shack. And I saw the boulder that I thought might be connected to all this on the other side of the creek. So as I start to go across the creek, I'm actually looking at my phone, and it went from full battery to no battery. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I'd also lost cell phone service, but there's no cell phone service out there anyway, so that's not a huge deal. But I was kind of concerned about the battery. But as I crossed the bridge, I started to smell something really, really bad. And I was getting the feeling that somebody was watching me. So I'm kind of like looking around, looking where like the trails are and everything to see if somebody, is coming. And I feel like somebody is super, super close. And I'm standing in front of the bathroom area. And I didn't smell it at first, but then all of a sudden I smelled this real musky, pungent odor. And it didn't smell like a bathroom smell would smell. It didn't smell like a dead animal nearby. It just smelled really, really bad. And this kind of feeling of dread came over me. And I was like, I need to get out of here right now. It might be a sunny, afternoon, right in the middle, of this safe area. It's a pretty safe area, but I need to get the heck out of here right away.
So we've got a history of sightings out here.
Yeah.
Ike had an encounter out here back in the 60s.
Yep.
The 60s also had a ton of High Strangeness going on. So there's a whole different dimension of things, quite literally, that could have been going on at that time. But his account also seemed to be a little bit of type A and a little bit of type B.
No, there's definitely a subject A and B aspects here. There's no question. That growl, that sounds like straight out something out of the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
That's, but then he's got this account where he got the idea that he needed to come out to this field and do donuts. What do you do with that?
It all goes on the table.
It goes on
the table.
Over the years, we have come to classify certain phenomena as subjects A and B. Subjects A are reports that fall in line with what many may consider to be a living flesh and blood creature, while subjects B may exhibit more paranormal characteristics. Some believe we're dealing with an unknown hominid, while others suggest a more supernatural or paranormal spin on the phenomena. Though both subjects may seem to overlap from time to time, in our opinion, there is not enough data to definitively say that they originate from the same source, whatever it may be. Even experienced researchers may have a hard time processing such encounters.
So back in March of 2021, I was having a really bad day. The morning started off with a therapy appointment where my therapist and I were talking through some really deep emotional stuff that I'd been going through. And after my appointment, I felt the need that I need to just connect with nature. I just need to get out and let some of that stress out. So of course I went straight to Kanawha State Forest. And I got there, it was probably maybe 11, 12, maybe around lunchtime. And I stopped at a couple of different places first and just kind of, looked at the sites, walked a little bit of the trails. It's secluded, but not. It's down a little path where there's a picnic table. You can sit and just kind of enjoy nature, but the road was right there, so I didn't feel like I was completely isolated. So I'm sitting at the picnic table for probably maybe an hour to a half hour, and I had a book with me, so I was just reading a book, and I'd read a little bit, just sit back and enjoy nature, read a little bit more. And I looked at my watch and I was like, well, okay, it's probably about time that I need to go pick up my son from school. But before I left, I noticed that whoever was at this particular area before me didn't clean up after themselves so well. And it was mostly just like little small pieces of paper or cups and stuff. So I took about maybe 10 to 15 minutes and just picked up all the trash that I saw in the area and threw it away. And I was kind of leaning down and had my back turned to where my car was. And I hear a really, really deep male voice say, "Thank you." And I thought that a ranger or, park employee had just come up behind me and it saw what I did, was thanking me. So I kind of turned around, get up, turn around, and I was like, "Oh, you're welcome," but there was nobody there. And then I was like, that was really weird. Where did I hear that from? And then it set in that I don't think I heard it with my ears. I think that I heard it within my mind. And about the point that I'm making that realization, that's when just the image popped in my brain of a large, what we would call a Bigfoot type creature. And it kind of took me aback. It was like, wait, what? Why did that come to mind? Oh my gosh, could that be what this is? There have been sightings and reports in that general area. And so it kind of took me off guard for a little bit. And I didn't exactly know what was going on until a couple weeks later when I had read a book called Mindspeak, and it was all about how Bigfoot type creatures may or may not be able to use telepathy to communicate with us. And I kind of made the connection, well, maybe that's what I experienced.
There was no one we could think of who was better qualified to talk about that than Glenn Adkins, Ohio Squatch Project founder and creator of the world-famous Squatch Stick.
So, there's another big topic in the community, and it's looked at in a strange way sometimes, and then it could fall into subject B. But when it comes to mindspeak, do you have any thoughts, or is there anything you can share concerning mindspeak, or anything of the sort?
I'm not going to discount anything, okay? I'm not that person to say, yeah, those people are idiots, that doesn't exist, because I'm not very good at what I'm doing if I haven't proven Bigfoot exists yet, So I've had, and I don't know if you call it mindspeak, but I've had instances when we were in the swamp on the gas road. There were 4 of us walking into this. My wife, myself, Steve Jones, and another guy who had just started going out with us in the woods. He was a friend of Steve's. And as we were walking, we had gone through the gate, got to the where, and we all stopped instantaneously. And I don't want to say, something told me to just go, but you felt a wall almost. There was a projection there, is what I would describe it as. Enough. You don't need to come anywhere closer. Don't know the reason, didn't care. But it was so strong that when we left, the one guy that was with Steve never came back. Ever. Wanted nothing to do with it after that night. It shook him that bad. And I've been, down here at Salt Fork, where we had our encounters, there were times where we went in the woods, and this is a family and a group that gave us things that we interacted with and stuff like that, that there were times where we would go up and be close to that area that we let them have and didn't get into, that you just felt it was like, hey, you know what, I got a headache. I'm not in the mood today. Go away, guys. And you just felt that. There was a projection. Now, how do I explain that? Some people are heightened more than others. Let's look at poker players. How many times do you watch it happen on TV? Daniel Negreanu can read people's mind, I swear. You know, in poker, he's like looking at you, looking at his cards, getting this feeling of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and be like, he has kings, he has me beat, I'm going to fold. And here he had, had him beaten, he's calling what he had. There's projections and people being able to perceive other people's emotions. There are those human lie detectors that can, project that type. There's way too much, whether it's psychic or whatever it is, that you've walked into a room before to where they weren't necessarily talking about you, but they were talking about something they didn't want you to hear. And when you walk in, you stop for a second and you can feel the mood of the room, and it's telling you, yeah, you're better off just to turn around and walk back out. It's more comfortable for everybody. That's what I think is going on with it. And the other thing, as far as the mind speak, well, I've never had a conversation with them like that, but I've been, pushed back or had that feeling of, you probably should try this another day.
So it's more of a feeling.
To me it was. Other people said, well, mine spoke to me and told me that it needed, Tylenol or whatever. Okay, I'm glad you're at that level that you are. And that's the other thing. I think there's different levels to different things. Everybody's a little psychic, they say. Man, if I'd have took that one road that I normally take, I'd have been involved in the crash. For some reason, I took the other way. Circumstance, happenstance, okay. But then you have the other people who are telling you, if I took that, that are advanced in what they do, and I think mindspeak may be like that.
There are those who will spend years of their lives seeking the unknown. They will travel untold distances, chasing legends and peering into the dark corners for a chance to glimpse some small essence of proof in what they seek. However, there are others who have no desire to seek any great mysteries, but just so happen to be in the right place at the right time to witness a paradigm-shifting event. And it is these accounts that we really need to pay attention to.
I'm Kellie. So I actually really wasn't even interested in the outdoors or really nature in general until the pandemic happened. I was not an outdoorsy person. My idea of outdoorsy was reading my book on a porch. So when the pandemic happened and everybody got really stir crazy, we started going to the forest and hiking, and we went up one of my favorite trails, and we took our dog to go hiking through the trail so that she could get some exercise. When we got up through the trail, we started noticing it had rained and it was really muddy. She was kind of acting a little strange when we got closer to a certain area. And I kept my eyes on the ground to see if there was anything interesting. We actually were looking to see if there were any animal tracks in the area, because we wanted to cast the animal tracks for my son's bedroom and make a new cast wall for him. And so while we were walking through there, she actually started acting a little strange, and we noticed that there were some weird markings on the ground. And the closer that we got, I actually noticed that there was a footprint on the ground.
When we made it up, Kellie was a little bit ahead of me, and she found this track, and I looked at it and I was like, it could be, it couldn't be. And then she started describing how she could see the toes in it. I had her show me where she found this the toes were at, and we got the orientation. I laid down my pocket knife beside it and took some photos, and I still wasn't convinced I was going to cast it, because at the time all I was seeing was the one. And then she pointed out that there were footprints that were leading either down off the hill into the creek or up from the creek and across and up the hill. You could see where there was disturbance in the leaf litter and where things had moved through. There was some clear disturbance of where this thing had come and gone, but there wasn't any other really good viable tracks to cast. Rose was freaking out. That's our dog. She was getting real antsy in and around where this spring feeds this muddy patch. And then once the plaster got in the ground, we were just sitting there, and it started, dusk had hit, and the coyotes just start kicking off. They're real excited. The dog was just kind of like antsy. You could tell her anxiety had sped up a little bit, and she was getting a little uneasy. And then she started trying to pull us away, trying to take us away from where we were currently at. And the plaster was in the ground, and I'm like, oh man. And I was like, well, the dog's getting antsy, and Kelly'd never been out in the woods and heard the coyotes that close, and she was getting kind of antsy as well. So we got them back to the truck, and I went back out to the site where the casting material was, and still had to wait about 15 minutes because it was so cold it slowed down the curing process. And finally got it up out of the mud, because it was a real sticky clay mud, and it was tough getting it out without breaking it. And once I got it out, I ran back to the truck, and I showed Kelly, and the dog was sitting in the front seat with her. And when I showed Kelly the track, the dog did not like the plaster cast at all. Real suspicious of it, just didn't want anything to do with the cast. It was, some stuff you hear about dog behavior with other experiences, but it was noteworthy. The dog was really anxious about this cast.
In a lot of cases, when we go out and look for something, we don't find it. Sometimes, though, when we go out and look for something, something finds us. On this day, we were headed back to the location of a previous sighting, one that started the whole thing, the first cast that was ever taken in this area, which launched the collective. But what happened next is why they call it High Strangeness.
So here we are, we're on the exact location of where, for us, as the collective, it kind of all started, right?
Yeah, this is pretty much where it was. This is when, we got the frantic phone call.
So I came down here and just to give it a look, and I've already found 2 viable footprints. And I'm going to cast those here in a moment. Yeah, John gave us a call, and he knew us because we were part of the reptile community. We were part of the herpetology stuff, and it almost in a former life, it seems, at this point. But we were part of the same community. We had similar interests, and he had this experience, and he knew that we were also into this kind of phenomenon, that we'd be able to help him out.
That wasn't a gun.
Nah. That was a tree.
What did it do?
I don't know, and I don't...
It sounded like...
I hope the audio caught that.
Oh, the audio definitely caught that, because it reverbed around this whole hillside. You see anything up there?
I don't. With the sun hitting me in the eyeball.
I know. That was close, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's where the High Strangeness comes in.
As soon as I knelt at the area here and was examining the footprint, there was 2 sets of wood knocks across the road up on the mountain.
That is the same area where we just heard those knocks during our interview. At the exact same vernal pool.
I'm gonna go get some plaster. We're gonna pour it and hopefully get these out of here without any trouble. And it's actually been pretty promising. We have 2 casts drying currently. And there's 2 more right here in front of me that I can't cast because they're full of water. So here are the feet that I came up to, and we're right on the edge of a vernal pond here. It goes back probably another, I don't know, 10 yards from where you're actually able to see. There's a stump there. It goes about 10 yards past that. It's really soggy land, but here is one of the footprints here, followed by another that's full of water. And whatever was through here was moving that way. And you can kind of see a clearing through the trees. And if you follow this clearing, that's where you're actually going to find the footprint casts over here. And there's actually more evidence of something big walking through here. And then here we go. You can see the size of these are pretty good.
Is it a coincidence that we're in the same area, in the same place, 4 years later, and receive similar strange activity? It could be. Either way, this time, there's a lot more of us, and we are going to try to figure out what made that sound.
So where was it?
All right, so what did that sound like to you?
Yeah.
Like somebody beating the hell out of a rock on a tree. It was
Yeah.
right over there too.
Yeah.
I was sitting here and I watched it like something scatter over there.
Oh, so you saw something scatter?
I mean, I saw something. You see where the white like birch tree is right there?
Yeah.
You see right behind it where the
You're talking about
acid
The
is?
black
where
stuff is
the-
behind it.
Yeah, that was it. It was like right in there.
Let's go. Get the film rolling.
No matter where we go, it seems like we're always either climbing up a hill or going down into a valley. Either way,
It's steep. Really steep. It's steep up here.
Yeah.
So over that way?
Over this way?
Keep going. Joe,
Hey.
what is that?
Something.
what we were seeing were impressions in the leaf litter. Something had gone through here.
Where to now? Okay. All the way up to the flat.
Okay. That's nothing.
No, it's a slide, look.
Huh?
It's a slide.
Something slid, but what?
What it was. This could easily be a bear.
Bear. Might be a rafter here too. Just saying. Something was moving up here. You know?
Right.
What is that?
Go over there and go up.
Go over and up?
See that old flat right there?
Yeah.
Go over here and up and around.
Up and around. So I'm standing on top of that, right? That's what you're saying?
This way.
Okay. Coming around. Coming around. Coming around. That's what I thought.
Our intent now was to try to recreate that sound as best as we could. Now, what made that sound? We had no idea. We also had no idea if it was still up here or not.
Right?
Nope. That was loud. Nah. Too hollow. That region?
Yeah, that flat.
Right there.
Because it's... Yeah, it's up on the flat. We got to get up there. So we bump it
This
back
way.
this way. See that tree, the big tree with moss?
Yeah, go for that.
Make a little.
Got it. Okay. Next. To these group right here, right?
Yep.
Probably. Okay. I'm just letting this thing run, just in case.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little. It's louder. Hit that one beside you. Too tall. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a broken tree up here. That's been broke for a while now. Nothing there. Bunch of brambles up that way. It's close. It's close. I don't see anything. See anything on the ground?
Just some slides, but they're old.
Yeah. Nothing new though. Same. Yeah, I don't see anything new.
Well, this is an odd logo.
Weird, ain't it?
No, look.
What is it? I see it. What?
Now, it's not a nest, but it's a little.
It's flat.
Little flat spot.
That's
There's no dead tree attributed to it.
That's weird.
Because these can occur like that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But there's no tree there.
And this is on a game trail. Now look at the game trail. That's the game trail.
Straight through there. Yeah, it's right on this. So I wonder. There's a flat right here too, but there's a tree on that one. That's the normal one. I don't see anything up here, dude. I mean,
let's get right up here to this one.
okay.
Don't go that way.
Okay. Other way.
Go to your right and right.
Up and around.
Yeah, see that dead tree right there?
Yeah.
If it comes down, it's smacks us.
Yeah. Well, if we, is that a rock? Hey.
Come here. Look, something moving.
Rock.
Rock.
Big rock.
Flip that rock and see if it's been sitting on.
Yeah, it's been there a while. It's not that. What's this?
This is a dead tree. That's the one we already hit.
Uh-huh.
So
Do it. Right about where all that stuff's falling off.
I'm looking for anywhere with height of it.
Hit. There's
How's
your-
that?
It did. Hard. There it is. Of course. You can't. And I didn't hear any subsequent breakage of anything falling like we did at Wineberry.
No.
So there should be something here that did that, if that's the case.
See all the disturbance over there?
I do see all the disturbance over there. Something here, dude. What do you make of that? Now that makes you think. That's
Yeah.
been unnerving.
This is a nice flat spot. Kellie has pinpointed that this is about where the sound originated, and
Yeah.
We've got a big dead tree right here. It's nice and hard.
Yeah, and
it really dry. It makes a really good percussive sound. It's possible.
It sounded like it did. It sounded exactly like it. We'll have to go back and play it on the tape, but
yeah,
I think that was
I didn't get nearly the volume.
No, we need something bigger to hit it with.
Yeah, I need something bigger.
And I don't see anything.
And something that's not like decaying.
Yeah, I don't see anything else. It had to be a solid something.
You know, look at this stick up here. I'm sure there's going to be a length of it that's decent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try to get a recreation of that sound as close as we can get to the sound recreation. There you go.
This is another flat right here too.
I see it.
And there's a game trail right on it.
Yeah, I see that too. I can see where something went right through it from down here.
Had been.
It's this tree, dude. It sounds different. This tree sounds different. No. Well, maybe. No, that's not it.
Didn't have that.
No, didn't have that. But when you hit this one, hit that thing 2 times. Like boom, boom.
If I can,
I know it's hard to do.
I'm trying to get more oomph in it.
Yeah. All right. All right. That's it.
Well,
that's it. That is it.
Huh. What are the odds we actually found it? You know what I mean? That's nuts. Because like this tree is so old, like we can hit it as hard as we want. And
you don't see a mark at all. That explains why there's no marks on the tree.
Yeah.
Like look at that. There's no marks on that tree where you hit that. And if anything hit it with just a stick like you just did, you're not gonna see it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see it at all. Huh. But that old dead tree makes a perfect resonance chamber. You see that?
Yeah.
Compared to the live ones you were hitting on.
Right.
So yeah, that's completely insane. All right, let's go back down. You know, that makes a good vantage point. I can stand right here, and if I'm not looking up here, you can see me.
There's another flat continues, like there's more flats.
More flats all the way down through there. They're like stations all the way through this hillside.
Over the vernal pool.
How about that?
And a clean, deep water source.
Yeah, how about that? There's your subject A right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. All right, let's get off this mountain.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
That was unexpected on our very first day of filming.
We found some stuff.
We did. Luckily, Kellie was sitting at one of the picnic tables over here.
Yeah.
And was facing
the direction
of where the noise came from.
All right, Kellie. What did you hear up there, and what did you see, I should say?
I heard a loud knocking sound, it sounded kind of like it's somebody hitting, almost like a drum or like hitting with a baseball bat, something. And then I saw like something kind of tumbled down the side of the hill with it. So I was sitting here, and it was right over in that dead tree patch.
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah, I do. So it was up in that area.
Yeah.
And she actually zoned in on it, locked eyes, and told us roundabout where it was. So off we went.
Straight up a hillside. Yeah.
There is no path. There's a few game trails, but we found a few benches that were
weird.
And it wasn't really a bench, more of a shelf.
Yeah, there's like
these
flat depressions up there that are just almost strategically located all along this ridge.
And you can see all of them from one.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It was, but each one of them have a great vantage point of
this whole area. You know, that makes a good vantage point. I can stand right here, and if I'm not looking up here, you can see me.
There's another flat continues, like there's more flats.
More flats all the way down through there. They're like stations all the way through this hillside.
Over the vernal pool.
That same vernal pool is where a terrifying encounter happened several years ago. It's also the site where we have obtained the best evidence yet of a physical creature in this area. Today, we call that Subject A. Back then, it was simply known as Bigfoot. Based upon the data that we've collected here and at other sites now, it would seem that vernal pools play a big part in this phenomenon.
We've actually had a lot of activity that takes place right around vernal pools. What we're looking at right now is a vernal pool. That means it's a temporary pool. This body of water doesn't stay here year-round. It's gonna dry up, and all of the life that's inside it will either make its way underground, or it will develop and grow and leave the pool. What's in here right now are millions of salamander larvae, frog spawn, frog larvae, tons of life, including several kinds of insects.
And it's easy to catch food, basically, is what you're saying.
It's incredibly easy.
So this is an all-you-can-eat buffet.
And it's clean water.
Right here.
All right here.
Yeah.
And when John came into this area, he was doing a salamander survey, which means that he was checking the migration of the salamanders, adult salamanders, as they were coming down off the mountain and into the vernal pool to breed. So he was parked right there. He got out of his vehicle and he walked right to the edge of the water on the other side of this pool. That's when something on this side got startled. It yelled at him. He got startled in return, ran back into his vehicle. It yelled again so loud that it vibrated the windows of his car. This exact location is where the salamander casts came from.
These casts have now been seen around the world, and some top researchers believe them to be among the best evidence of a possible Bigfoot.
So this is what we would consider Subject A. All the way around.
Yeah, this is Subject A material right here. There's nothing weird about this. This is just a natural animalistic behavior. Something was down here eating.
Yeah.
It got spooked, and it tried to run off, to be the aggressor and run off the person who was here. So this is.
And I think honestly that it was at first right here where these original tracks were, because they were so deep.
Yeah.
It had been standing here for a while, probably scooping.
Yeah.
It's what it seems.
Probably heard the vehicle coming
and
down the road.
heard the vehicle coming, saw it pull off with the headlights, and then immediately retreated back,
hid behind that tree where you found those original steps.
Exactly.
Yep.
And if you look beyond those, you see a perfect roadmap for an escape.
Yeah.
All